How do you learn English from podcasts?
I listen to short English podcasts every morning and repeat new words aloud.
How do you make podcast listening a habit?
I set a fixed time each day to listen, usually after breakfast.
What kind of podcasts do you prefer?
I enjoy podcasts that talk about real life English conversations.
How do you improve your accent through podcasts?
I mimic the speaker's pronunciation and rhythm to sound natural.
How do you remember new words from podcasts?
I write them in a notebook and use them in sentences later.
How does he learn English from podcasts?
He listens to educational English shows during his commute.
How does she practice speaking after listening?
She repeats the sentences from the podcast to build confidence.
How do they use podcasts for vocabulary growth?
They pause the podcast and note down unfamiliar words.
How does it help students improve their listening skills?
It trains their ears to understand different accents and speeds.
How does this method save time for busy learners?
It allows them to learn English while doing daily tasks.
How does Ali stay consistent with podcast learning?
He listens at the same time daily to maintain discipline.
How does Sarah enjoy learning from podcasts?
She listens to stories in English before going to sleep.
How do children benefit from English podcasts?
They pick up natural pronunciation and simple vocabulary.
How do beginners start with English podcasts?
They choose slow-paced podcasts made for learners.
How does a teacher use podcasts in class?
He plays short clips and discusses the key phrases.
How do advanced learners use podcasts?
They listen to news and debates to understand complex sentences.
How does daily listening improve fluency?
It helps the brain think in English more naturally.
How do workers use podcasts to learn English?
They listen during travel or lunch breaks.
How does it help improve pronunciation?
It exposes learners to native speech and tone.
How does a student track progress from podcasts?
He checks how many new words he can use in conversations.
How do you stay focused while listening to podcasts?
I close other apps and listen with full attention.
How do you test your understanding after listening?
I summarize the episode in my own words.
How do you learn grammar from podcasts?
I observe how speakers form sentences naturally.
How do you practice speaking after listening?
I repeat short parts until I can say them clearly.
How do you turn podcast learning into fun?
I choose topics that truly interest me.
How does he make notes from podcasts?
He writes down useful expressions in a notebook.
How does she choose a podcast level?
She listens to beginner-friendly shows to start.
How do they learn from interviews and podcasts?
They focus on how people ask and answer questions.
How does it help build listening confidence?
It makes understanding fast speech much easier over time.
How does this habit improve natural speaking?
It helps learners use real English phrases naturally.
How does Ahmed use podcasts with subtitles?
He listens once, then reads along to catch missed words.
How does Hina build her listening routine?
She listens to one episode every evening.
How do students share what they learned from podcasts?
They discuss key points with classmates in English.
How does a learner stay motivated to keep listening?
He picks topics related to his hobbies.
How does regular listening change your accent?
It slowly aligns your speech with native sounds.
How do podcasts make English learning more natural?
They show how people really speak in daily life.
How do busy people use podcasts for learning?
They combine listening with chores or exercise.
How does listening daily help with pronunciation?
It improves rhythm, stress, and intonation automatically.
How does she build vocabulary from travel podcasts?
She notes all travel-related words and phrases.
How does he memorize phrases easily?
He repeats them multiple times during the day.
How does it help learners understand accents?
It introduces them to speakers from different regions.
How do students use short podcasts effectively?
They listen repeatedly until they fully understand.
How does a teacher motivate learners through podcasts?
He suggests fun and short English episodes.
How do you make your own learning plan with podcasts?
I set goals for vocabulary, pronunciation, and fluency.
How do you combine podcasts with speaking practice?
I listen and then discuss the topic with friends.
How do you stay interested in long podcasts?
I divide them into short listening sessions.
How do you improve listening speed through podcasts?
I gradually move to faster speakers and advanced shows.
How do you learn expressions from podcasts?
I pause and repeat every useful expression aloud.
How do you make podcasts part of your daily routine?
I listen while walking, cleaning, or relaxing.
How do you review what you heard yesterday?
I replay yesterday's episode before starting a new one.
How does he practice pronunciation from business podcasts?
He copies how professionals speak clearly and confidently.
How does she understand idioms from podcasts?
She looks them up and uses them in her own sentences.
How do they test their comprehension?
They answer short questions about the episode's content.
How does it improve English thinking?
It helps learners think directly in English, not translate.
How does this method suit self-learners?
It allows them to study anytime without a teacher.
How does a student find good podcast topics?
He searches for subjects related to daily life.
How does she enjoy English podcasts at home?
She listens while cooking or cleaning.
How do parents help kids with English podcasts?
They play short stories and talk about them later.
How does it strengthen English memory?
It makes words stick by hearing them often.
How does daily listening increase confidence?
It reduces fear of fast English conversations.
How do you choose podcasts for fluency practice?
I prefer conversational shows with natural speech.
How do you make use of short breaks for listening?
I play short episodes when I have free minutes.
How do you correct your mistakes after listening?
I record myself and compare it with the speaker.
How do you balance listening and speaking?
I listen for 20 minutes and speak for 10.
How do you learn sentence patterns from podcasts?
I notice how speakers connect ideas smoothly.
How do you improve English comprehension naturally?
I listen daily without pausing too much.
How do you turn podcast learning into a challenge?
I set weekly goals for new words and expressions.
How do you stay patient when you don't understand?
I replay the section slowly until I get the meaning.
How do you enjoy learning with English stories?
I imagine the scenes and feel the story's emotion.
How does he improve grammar by listening?
He observes sentence forms instead of memorizing rules.
How does she use podcasts to prepare for exams?
She listens to educational English lessons daily.
How do they learn natural phrases for conversation?
They repeat dialogues from the episodes.
How does it help with listening to movies later?
It trains the ear to catch fast English sounds.
How does this routine make learning stress-free?
It mixes fun with practice, not pressure.
How does a learner feel after months of listening?
He feels more confident in understanding and speaking.
How do podcast hosts make learning enjoyable?
They explain words and speak clearly for learners.
How do you turn podcasts into speaking topics?
I talk about what I heard with my friends.
How do you make podcast learning active?
I take notes and repeat sentences aloud.
How do you build discipline for podcast learning?
I listen at the same hour every day.
How do you find podcasts for pronunciation?
I search for ones that focus on accent training.
How does he use English news podcasts?
He listens to daily updates and repeats main headlines.
How does she handle difficult English words?
She pauses, rewinds, and listens again carefully.
How do they make podcast listening social?
They form a small group and discuss each episode.
How does it make learning flexible?
It lets learners study anywhere, anytime.
How does this help non-native speakers most?
It gives them real examples of natural English.
How do you stay consistent with your podcast habit?
I never skip a day, even for short episodes.
How do you pick a good learning podcast?
I choose one with clear speech and useful topics.
How do you use podcasts before sleep?
I listen to calming English stories to relax.
How do you repeat what you hear for fluency?
I imitate the speaker's tone and timing.
How do you organize your podcast notes?
I keep words, phrases, and idioms in separate lists.
How does he listen while exercising?
He uses earphones to learn while jogging.
How does she improve daily conversation skills?
She listens to real talk shows with natural dialogues.